Election Day in Kentucky, and the polls are now officially open.
Yeah, from the governor's race to our local Metro Council seats, we know that the outcome of today's election will have a significant impact on our community. Jim Stratman is live from JCTMS right now. Jim, where I can hear that people are already there to vote today.
That's right, Grace. We had a line of about 6 people already outside when the polls opened up at 6 o'clock. They've flooded in. They're going ahead and registering right now, and they'll be casting their votes here in the next couple of seconds, really. So a pretty good start to the day, especially out here at the precinct, the traditional middle school. We're looking to see more people coming out a little bit later on, as really as the day continues. This is just the beginning of a marathon, especially for election workers. 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. those polls are going to be open here in Jefferson County. And remember, if you are in line at 6 p.m., as long as you're in line at 6 p.m., you will still be able to cast your vote as the day rolls on. Now, a couple things you need to know before you come out to the polls. Make sure you bring a government-issued ID, or really any type of ID, something that poll workers can use to confirm you are who you say you are when you come in to vote. That includes things like a government-issued ID, a driver's license, passport, valid school ID. All of those will work. Also, something you might want to remember, you can bring in scratch paper, sample ballots, your cell phone into the polls with you. And a sample ballot might be pretty helpful. It's something that you can use to kind of gauge what you're going to be asked when you get into those voting booths, so things can move along a little bit quicker as well. You can see one of those sample ballots and find your voting location if you go to govoteky.gov. We also have that link in our election guide on WHAS11.com. Now, we will be here all morning long as the polling is just getting started. Voting here on Election Day just beginning a matter of moments ago. We have a long day ahead of us. We will have you covered here on WHAS 11 and WHAS11.com. Eric, Grace.
Jim, thank you. You said it best. Long day ahead. But before you do head to the polls and make your choices today, let's take a closer look at some of the key races you will be seeing on that ballot. For Secretary of State in Kentucky, incumbent Republican Michael Adams is taking on Democratic challenger Buddy Wheatley. While in office, Adams has prioritized election security and voter ID laws. Wheatley aims to boost voter participation by expanding early voting if he's elected. Republican candidate Russell Coleman is going up against Louisville Democrat Pamela Stevenson for the Attorney General spot. That's the seat currently held by Daniel Cameron. Coleman served as the Trump-appointed U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Kentucky. Stevenson served as an Air Force colonel, former U.S. Attorney, and is a state representative. If elected, she would be the first black woman to lead the Attorney General's office. But of course, the most highly anticipated race for today is the next leader of the Commonwealth. Incumbent Democratic Governor Andy Beshear faces Republican Attorney General Daniel Cameron in the race for governor. In his first term, Beshear became known for his response to the COVID-19 pandemic and his focus on education and health care. While Attorney General, Cameron gained recognition for his involvement in national legal issues, including the Breonna Taylor case.
And sticking with that high-stakes showdown between our two gubernatorial candidates, neither side is taking any chances here. Senior reporter Isaiah Kim Martinez and photojournalist Addie Hill show us the down-to-the-wire campaigning that happened right here in Louisville yesterday.
In his final get-out-the-vote rally before Tuesday's election, Kentucky's governor telling voters to trust his track record.
I run as a proud Democrat, but you saw the moment I won. I took that hat off and I served every single family.
Andy Beshear spent much of the day in eastern Kentucky, but concluded his campaign efforts at a brewery just east of downtown Louisville.
It's time for us to recognize that a good job isn't Democrat or Republican, a new bridge isn't red or blue, that clean drinking water is a basic human right.
Throughout his campaign, Beshear has focused on the accomplishments of his tenure. That includes billions in new economic investment, the legalization of sports betting and medical marijuana, and what his team calls steady leadership through the COVID-19 pandemic and natural disasters. Meanwhile, earlier Monday afternoon, Kentucky's Attorney General also making a final stop in the state's largest city for a news conference. Republican Daniel Cameron once again nationalizing the race, tying Governor Beshear to President Joe Biden, blaming them for high inflation and other strains on Kentuckians' wallets.
And this governor and this president, Joe Biden, Andy Beshear, there's not a dime's bit of difference between them. They both embrace economic policies that are not good for Kentuckians.
A high-stakes election comes down to Tuesday night. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 on your side.
All right, so let's talk about how you're going to get to the polls. TARC doesn't want the lack of transportation to keep you from getting there, so all routes are going to be fare-free all day long, and it applies to all rides, whether it's to your nearest polling place or any other location you need to get to today. TARC 3 paratransit rides are going to be free too, and we'll remind you that the polls close tonight at 6.
So we just threw a lot of information at you. Remember, you don't have to write it down or ingest it all and remember it. You can find it all in our voter guide. It's online right there at WHAS11.com. And remember, you can take your phone into the voting booth with you.
And of course, Election Day doesn't end after us on GMK. We're going to start bringing you election results tonight on WHAS 11 News at 6. Then stay with us for our 1-hour election special at 7, featuring some of Kentucky's best analysts. Coverage continues at 8 and 9 on our digital platforms before we wrap it up on the WHAS 11 night team, recapping the results of what is sure to be an exciting